So you've heard some really important information today, and you know, we've spent a lot of time on giving you a big lot of data, if you like, and we could have probably doubled the agenda because we haven't seen you for such a long time, and we've been really, you know, really anxious to share some stuff with you. But even though everything else is really important from what you've heard, if you're going to remember one thing from today, the next hour and a bit is it. It's really important. It has the potential to change the trajectory of our business, your business, make you more money. It's the beginning. Well, it's actually not the beginning because we started the journey and you've done really well so far. But it's a big step up from where we've been. And if we're successful with this next step up, then the steps will just keep coming at us and coming at us and coming at us to drive more profitability for you. So if I've got your attention, I'm happy. Now hopefully I can deliver on that. So the core range. So what are we going to cover? So we did start our journey a little while ago, as James indicated earlier, and I'll skip over that, but we did start a little while ago. We have big ambitions for the future for the core range. We've had to change our approach to help deliver these ambitions, and we need to get you involved with that. We want to discuss the opportunity with you. We want to be really clear about what the deal is that we've got to offer. And then we need to think about how we get support from everybody in this room. And then we might work through some of those obstacles, and then we'll talk about next steps. So, as James shared earlier, we started back in Royal Pines in 18. And you've done a fantastic job. We launched it in February 19 at... where was that? Pullman. Yeah, Pullman at Albert Park, that's correct, thank you. We had the Merchandise Council come together and do all the selections based on everything they knew, except for some data, and we implemented it through planogramming. And we've done really well out of that. And to show you how well we've done, this number is the year-to-date number. So we are sitting at 51.7 for the year. We're tracking higher than that, because each month's been getting better. As Mark shared with us earlier, I think from area 53 or something we're up to now. So we're getting better every month, which is great. And by state, you can see it. So Victoria, sitting higher than the average, I think was pointed out. So, and that would be even higher today. So that's great. But we know that it's not perfect, as Brett indicated before. And we know about not best price. We know about that. We're trying really hard to get best price, but we're struggling with it for a lot of reasons. It's not always the right product in the core. We've heard that we've got too many options in the core. And those suppliers just keep offering us alternatives, and quite often at better prices. And how do we deal with that? So we've been listening. So the core range is going through many phases, of which we're into the second and third phase now. So we started off with core range at around about, I think the first number was 32%, I think that's what Mark said. We had core range suppliers selected. We had the adoption and the training, and it's been quite okay. We're now over 50%, which is great, but what we've had to do is start thinking about this differently. So we've actually engaged with a yarn supplier. So we've actually had to move past the current manufacturers. We haven't left them alone, but we've had to go past them, and we've gone to a yarn supplier to develop an exclusive yarn. We've had to forecast. So we've taken a lot of data, your purchase data, from products that are similar, and we've actually worked out what uplift we can achieve by taking that data and building on it. We've even provided some level of guarantee around this. Nothing that's going to put the membership in any sort of financial jeopardy, but because we've built those guarantees into our business. So the next phase is to hit core at well over where we are now. And as Mark said, we don't know what the number is. Is it 65%? Is it 70%? Is it 75%? Well, let's just aim for 70 plus. I reckon that's a good number. And that's a big jump from where we are, because we're just over 50 now. And this is, obviously trying to measure apples for apples. So what? That's not quite the current capability of our manufacturing base, but it probably highlights the fact that we've gone back to the suppliers, and we've pushed back up the supply chain. And we wanted to make sure that if we were to develop some exclusive products for us, we would be doing it in the right ranges, ones that are already successful. So we know that there's a foundation of performance, because if you try and do this with something that's on the fringe, then the performance is at risk. So we wanted to take something that we knew was a really good performing product. So we negotiated directly with Aquafil, who is a yarn supplier who looks after the Econyl SDN yarn. And we've negotiated exclusivity in different fibre weights. We have exclusive distribution for these fibres. Nobody else in Australia or New Zealand has access to these. We then selected manufacturers who we felt had the capability to actually produce the products in the quality that we wanted. So I know that many of you in the room have been around for a little while. Have probably heard of Econyl before from Cavbrem, and I think we need to realise that the Econyl story is an internationally successful story, and that what we may know of in terms of success or otherwise with Cavbrem, we need to recognise it and understand it and learn from it, but it's not the determinant of where this is going. We have different yarns, just so we're really clear. We've not continued with the yarn that Cavbrem were doing in the last couple of years. So this is a very successful regeneration of fibre across many different products, one of which is carpets, old carpets. And there are carpet recycling plants around the world, none in Australia as yet. And they're already currently producing products for all of these international brands. The story of the Econyl fibre is one of infinite reuse. So if we think about the sustainable story, just for a second, the yarn itself can be regenerated an infinite number of times. It never has to go to landfill. It also helps Carpetcourt start our sustainability journey. It's the beginning of the journey. It's not the end point, and it's not something that we need to be very considered about when we actually go to market about this particular story. So we're not getting hung up on the sustainability story in totality as yet, but it's a key platform. So a bit of a history about how we've got to where we are today. So we identified the raw material supply way back in August 19. We invited the CEO of the company to come out and present to the board about what he's done over his 10 plus years journey to get to the point where he's at right now. And then we discussed conversations with the board in early 20 about how we might apply this and what it could do for us. We then went through and negotiated with suppliers, and we've actually signed up agreements with 2 of the 3 key suppliers. We presented to the board on numerous times, and in fact, nearly every board meeting we update the board on the progress of where it's at to keep them abreast of the conversations. As I said, we've just finalised the contracts with the suppliers in March and April this year. So we've chosen 3 suppliers to launch the program with, all familiar names. Toughmaster, EC and Signature. Signature is not until early next year. So what are we doing? So these products are in the SDN category. And we're swapping out 7 fairly successful, very successful ranges in the core. Plus we're adding 2 additional SDN ranges and 2 white nylon ranges. Obviously that's with Signature. So a total of 11 ranges will be with us by March 2022, 8 of which will be launched later this year. So for Toughmaster, Doncaster, you'd all be familiar with Doncaster. It's being replaced with Awaken. Actually, Brett, you should come up and do this bit. No, come on up, please. Come on up.
So we are replacing Doncaster. Doncaster's a proven performer with our stores and our network. One of our top probably 5 performers throughout most stores. We are bringing it in on a like-for-like basis with 10 exclusive colours. There was 11, but 1 come off shade. 10 exclusive colours to Carpetcourt, all on trend colours. There's a few greys and a couple more greys and a couple of light colours. But they're really, really popular in terms of tones. That'll sell exceptionally well. 61.25, so it's going to be well and truly now under Doncaster. That's just had a price increase. It's about to have a price increase. So it's going to sit a few dollars under that. So we think we're going to get excellent volume out of Doncaster. Also come through with an excellent fire rating, so it can be used in multi-res apartments now, which is also excellent. Temrin Park will be replaced by Provenance, 48 ounce, so again a like-for-like product. Pretty good price as well. Temrin Park's just gone up to $99.90, so you're going to have a nice price break there. We've added a 36 ounce, sub $70. It will hit a sweet spot in our offering there. We're going to also have 2 soft touch fibres. So these are two different yarns, just to be clear. One's a bit more of a Doncaster feel. The other one's like the urban touch feel. So it's a bit of a softer touch. We were initially going in at 60 ounce and 70 ounce. The board provided some good feedback and we dropped it down from 60 to 55 ounce. So there's a nice little step up there between the two. Urban touch will be replaced by Origins and we're adding a 70 ounce, which is called Sauce. With EC, it's a similar sort of strategy here. Marble Villa, Stony River, Quinn Street, all excellent sellers of ours. Marble Villa, Stony River are 2 exclusive products to us. The colours are going to continue, so exactly the same colour bank will go across. Stony River will have 2 new colours that hit it, so it's no longer a 6, it's an 8 SKU range. Whereas Quinn Street is currently shared with Harvey Norman, it will become exclusive to us later this year. We will be adding another product which has been on the price list for a little bit now, Travertine Springs. We're challenging EC with their new technology and how this potential carpet looks. At the moment, we're not quite happy with it, but we're going to go back to them in the next couple of weeks. So we're really confident that this will be a bit of a game changer in terms of design for our network. And with Signature, we've had a little bit of a delay with these guys because of a couple of things overseas, but we're going to have 12 colours in each range. Again, challenge the status quo. You'll see a couple of random colours come out here, a couple of darker ones, a red, green, blue, eggplant. Something a little bit different, but you're also going to have the nice soft touch like a luxe tone or a luxe palette feel. So a customer, I think, will emotionally connect with some of these carpets once they run their hands over it. This is a white nylon, just to be clear. It's not a solution-dyed nylon.
So the impact on how this is going to be set up in stores is to actually present it within the planogram. So we're not looking to create an Econyl group of products. We're just looking to spread it as we do currently with the current SDN ranges across either performance, functional, Premier Soft, Ultimate Soft. So we're not actually wanting to group them as such as one Econyl collection. And the reason for that is it's about the messaging of the sustainability message to the customer and are we ready for that? We believe this is the best way to do it. We've actually tested it. I know the guys went and played with it as a setup in the store, in one of the member stores a while back, and came back thinking it's definitely the right thing to do to leave them in their parent groupings. So in the Ultimate Soft, you'll have 2 ranges. Premium Soft, you'll have 2. Performance, there'll be 3. And the texture, obviously, there'll ultimately be 4. So what's the deal? For us to actually negotiate these things, we actually have to provide volume forecasts, yeah? And otherwise we can't get the costs, we can't get the yarn commitment, we can't get the manufacturing commitment from the suppliers to actually dedicate that production space to us. So we actually have to put up volumes. And we've used forecasts based on the swap out ranges and other ranges that we've launched of late to give us a view of how we work up to those particular forecasts as a benchmark. And it's really important for the stakeholders to actually make sure that we can achieve those forecasts. If we achieve the forecasts, then this will help us retain exclusivity. Because at the moment it's all based on a plan, as you can imagine. This is a plan. It's a pretty good plan. There's been a lot of work done on it. It's been running for a long time. There's been so much work in the background to get it to this point where we're about to launch. So everyone's committed to the plan. We now just have to work out how we execute it and how we actually get the volumes. And look, we may get greater volumes than we expect. That would be fantastic. We may not, but we've got to get this plan rolled. If we do that, and this is really the important thing, so Econyl is the yarn. There are 11 ranges coming which give you exclusives, true exclusives, cannot be bought anywhere else. We've positioned the prices at or slightly under the comparable products in the market. We've got the history of that performance. We're pretty comfortable with the foundation of data that we've used to do this. So when it works, not if it works, when it works, this will open the door for us to get more exclusives and more suppliers coming knocking, wanting to be part of this business. It's actually delivering a big step of the core range journey that was probably alluded to way back in 18 when we first started talking about taking the power away from the suppliers and letting us be more in charge and making a difference for our brand relative to all the other flooring companies, resellers in the business, in the industry. So what are the benefits? Well, obviously the benefits for all stakeholders are production, improvement, cost efficiencies, increased margin. For the members, we're driven to improve your bottom line via growing the top line as well. That's what we do. We don't exist for any other reason. Yes, there's some compliance stuff we have to do, but really, we're here to help you, give you initiatives, give you projects to implement to make more money. That's what this is about. We also want the customer to start to hear about the sustainability story, about the Econyl, the difference at carpet cord versus I can't get that anywhere else. What is that? And start over time to build that journey. But the most important thing is the exclusive product. These are SDN ranges that people can't buy anywhere else for carpet cord. Give you an idea of the volume increases. So we've looked at the Doncasters, the Tamarind Parks, and we've looked at their volumes and we've projected forward an increase. What sort of increase? Blanket, at least 40%. And that's a big number. And look, in terms of broadloom metres, we're talking about a program that is well over 150,000 broadloom metres, just to give you an idea. And that may be too big a number for you to absorb, and how's that work in my business? So 40% increase is across the board. So if you're a really active supporter of SDN right now, you need to do more. Where's it going to come from is a good question. If you're not an active supporter of SDN, then there's an opportunity here, and there's big volume in this business. So if you're not, I'd ask you to consider maybe how do I play harder in this. We believe the majority of that volume is going to come from non-core SDN volumes because we've got visibility of that. So if we just start to think about how do I support this program and I don't support the non-core, we will get the volumes. It's a sort of a chicken and egg. Yeah? We've put ourselves out there for you in terms of forecast costs, ranges, colours, the whole bit. We've put ourselves out there in terms of the stretch to make it viable for the stakeholders, yarn supplier and manufacturers. We now need to deliver on that. And we don't order 1 metre. You guys do. So hence, it's actually about you. And it's about saying no. It's about saying no to the suppliers. So we're going to get hit by the competition, there's no doubt. When we launch this, and I mean the suppliers, some of the other suppliers who aren't playing yet, they're going to see that we're going to take business away from them, from their base. So what are they going to do? You know better than me. They're going to come and offer you an alternative, aren't they? At a slightly cheaper price. That's what they're going to do. So what are you going to do when that happens? It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And this is where we talk about short-term and long-term. It's a balance. So we want to talk about what does success look like? James, do you want to help me with this? Because I think we'd really like to get a collective view from you guys about, so what is success?
So we're going to throw it out to you. So we've positioned everything. We've been working on this thing for nearly 2 years. We think it's significant. It ticks a whole heap of boxes. We think that there's a huge opportunity to really grow your businesses into the future. So, we're curious and we're open to it. What do you think success looks like?
Yep.
Product takes off and we keep the exclusive longer. Absolutely. Do we want to write these down, Al, or we've got another list, don't we, anyway?
Thanks, Mary.
More opportunity for more exclusive products. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, definitely. First point of call.
Point of call.
Lee.
Yep. Only point of call.
Only point of call. You only got bright. Yeah, all working together. If we're all as a company heading that way, absolutely, Clint.
Is this about a sustainability message that we are... I mean, I'm the person that bangs on about sustainability in our industry and how much waste there is in our industry. It's great that we're looking at a product that actually brings a reusable factor like from old yarn, but how do we continue that on in the future where we might be able to recycle it here in Australia?
That's absolutely right. That's that start message.
Exactly.
Completely agree. So we're the stewards of the industry. So I'm sitting on the chair of the FCIA, and there's the CIAL and all these other industry bodies, ATFA, ARTFA, FAV. We're all the stewards of the industry. So we either get on board with sustainability as a program, or the government will govern it, and they will tax us, and they will tax us heavily until we get it right. So as stewards of the industry, this is the start of our journey, absolutely.
Yeah. But we're very conscious of yelling too early about it, because we've only just touched on one element now.
We sell this stuff, you know what you do? We pull up the carpet that's 15 years old, we really want to pull it up in 7 years, and you know what we do? We're taking that carpet and we're putting it at the tip. And then we're putting new stuff down. So we can't go out there yelling sustainability and greenwash the whole thing. It will just fail. So, we're also working with other suppliers on sustainability sustainable products as well into the future. This is the start of our journey at Carpet Court, though. And we're using it through the core to create exclusive products for you to drive it.
So I'd ask you to park that element, okay? That's a...
It's an exciting opportunity because I think
Absolutely.
It's a start. You can't just do it all at once.
No.
But it's good that we're addressing it.
We are, yeah, and it'll become more prevalent as we go forward. So, but for right now, what I want to focus on, if I can, Kate, is the opportunity for the exclusives. And we've chosen the Econyl yarn because it's got longevity for us. But that's not, that's just part of the differentiation. And Brett touched on it, but the product is, when they regenerate the yarn, it goes back into nylon, okay, nylon pellets, and it's 99.99% pure. Okay, so it's the same as SDN. It performs the same. You wouldn't know the difference if you touched it. Okay, so it will be exactly the same in terms of performance, quality, everything as you currently get with SDN, except we've obviously got it from regenerated yarn, which is a great thing. Okay, so if you have any doubts about is the product as good, is it inferior, it's absolutely, unequivocally, thank you, the same as SDN. Okay.
But it's not made with petrochemicals.
So we're researching all that stuff right now, Kate, to just sort of say, well, what's our message? Yeah, cool. Okay, we'll contact you.
Available resource.
Yeah. So what's success look like for this program? So let's just think about these as 11 exclusive ranges. Okay, we're making a real difference in the core. We're increasing the number of exclusives dramatically. It's in product that's proven. It's at price points that are lower than the current price points. And we'll actually get even a little bit lower based on the current increases that we're seeing. So what does success look like? And we've heard a couple. If we really get on this, we can keep the exclusivities. First port of call, money. I would, absolutely. Yeah, all those little money bags get bigger. Absolutely. That's exactly where I'm at. And in my mind, as I touched on, if this works and it starts to hit the competition and some of those suppliers hard because they're not seeing their SDN product selling in the same volume anymore because all of a sudden Carpet Court are starting to focus on their exclusives, then for them to maintain their volume, what are they going to do? They're either going to cut the pants out of the product they've got to clear it because they can't make money out of it, or they're going to come and start to talk to us about how do I get on the gravy train. But it takes us to be really committed to the cause, and when that opportunity, when that supplier does come in and does offer that range, that alternative option at $5 cheaper or $10 cheaper, what are you going to do?
This is the same situation when we started the core, and we've proven we've been able to implement that successfully, just looking at our figures today. So to me, it's the same story and hopefully more benefits.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, and we're not targeting core, remember, we're targeting the non-core.
We are targeting the non-core.
But still, call it circa 47%, and that's not accurate because there's a lot of accessories and underlay and everything else. But there's still a hell of a lot of product, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of metres of SDN that we sell that's in non-core that everybody else sells. So we want to continue to push the core program to drive the benefits to the membership.
We all know that we all personally and our sales staff have our favourites, yeah. And so I've got this relationship with supplier X, and I feel very comfortable with selling range Y, and so it's easy. I don't really have to think too hard about it, and I can just sell that till the cows come home, yeah. But if we bring in, Awaken, for example, that actually is the alternative in core to that product, how do I change that behaviour of myself and or my staff?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
The point is, number one, they need to be able to easily
Identify.
those.
Yeah.
The second thing, of course, is this big bag of money, they're going to make more money selling that because the margin is going to be greater.
No need to discount as much
Well, you shouldn't have to discount
at all, really. Yeah. Sometimes people like a sweetener, but just a little one. But we've got Qantas points for that.
Yeah.
Darren? Sorry. With there's a certain supplier going around trying to tell us that it isn't exclusive, and I don't know if they've been anywhere else, that that particular company is also sourcing the same product.
Coffeehurst?
Yeah, it
Okay.
might be that company. Yeah.
Yep, I can address that issue. Yep.
Yeah, they're basically coming around and saying, oh, no, you're getting an exclusive, but it's not really. We're actually doing the same thing, and they're trying to instigate that. And I think it's a great product. I think it's what we're doing is great.
So you know that yarn we spoke about before with Cav Brem? I think it was under the Sirens brand, the Stay Clean yarn that failed dismally? That's the one they're talking about.
Okay, rightio. That's all right.
So their product as well is really high. That's a really high-end, really expensive product. So we've negotiated it at 3 different fibres, but also discounted, significantly offered to get the program up and running in Australia.
We're in the good,
so
better
they're still
area.
paying premium price. And there's a whole lot of argy-bargy that's going on between GH and Econyl around the use of the brand. Yeah. So we'll just see how it plays out. So we've got 3, they've got 1. Let's see where it lands. But there's a lot of and that's just the tactics that GH have. I'm one of the biggest supporters of GH and Feltex. They're a big part of our business. We do sort of circa $45-50 million wholesale with them. You put it into retail bucks, it's well over $140 million retail that we do with GH. There's got to be that dialogue happens at a sales level, and it's not really what we're after.
Yeah.
Gabby.
Just on that, sorry, before you move to the next question, sorry. Econyl, the yarns are exclusive. The brand is not. Just to be clear, okay? So these yarns are exclusive. So we're not going to say we've got Econyl exclusively. We won't say that, okay? What we are saying is these yarns are exclusive to Carpet and the brand is Econyl, and they're on a Tough Master product or they're on a signature product. Okay?
Yeah, Interface have been using Econyl for many years in their carpet tile, so it's out there, it's here, it's proven.
It's proven.
It's a great product. We've just got it at the best price. We've jumped in front of the suppliers, and that's where some argy-bargy is coming from, because no retailer's done this before. It's quite clever.
Like you were saying, we're talking about having the core ranges and all that sort of stuff. But how do we delineate, or how do we distance ourselves? Like, how do you make this one look better than the God Rehearsed version, which obviously they've got huge marketing budgets and great access to lots of different, our stores and all the other stores in the world to be able to sell it. So I'm just a little bit concerned. That's
in terms of these products, like for example, our Ultra Pet range. Everyone's got a pet story. Godfrey Hirst have got a pet story as well. So, it's about how we cleverly market the range and use those different features and benefits to bring the customers into our product, into our stores. we need to share some pricing so they can see price points, because Godfrey Hirst won't be able to hit those price points. They're going to be at a premium. And I don't think they'll go anywhere near Siren as a brand, so that won't be brought into Australia. If they are to use anything, they'll use that Stay Clean by Econyl, potentially. So for us, we're going to be really clever about how we take Econyl to market and really try and differentiate ourselves from what Godfrey Hirst might be doing. And there'll be a real price difference between what they're doing and what we're doing. And slowly, as we become more confident with our sustainability journey and what we can do in that space, we'll dial up that message as we move through the process.
We need to actually work through that as an issue, because every brand across the country, when we rolled out in Sydney and we up in Queensland, there's people have issues with certain brands. When we want, for example, someone might have a problem with Toughmaster at the moment and thinking, oh God, why have they gone with Toughmaster? I can't stand bloody Toughmaster, they shit me. Or Quest or VCC or whoever it may be. We use all of those and we support all of those 6 or 7 companies in our core. And we're going to continue to support Australian manufacturing in our core. That's what we're going to do. We're going to back them. But if we have our personal issues around a certain supplier because of history, we actually want you to let that go. We want you to actually back Signature. We want you to back Toughmaster, and we want you to back EC with these ranges, and of course the other suppliers as well. And if you have a problem with the supplier, then get in touch with any of us and we'll sit down at the table and we'll navigate it and we'll work through those problems with you to make sure that all parts of the core are being supported the whole way through.
No, this will be tested the same way. It's got environmental warranties, which is the same as Doncaster. Fire warranties, the same as Doncaster. So it's all going to be going down that avenue versus the pet story.
Yeah. So it's the same warranty, our expectation is it performs exactly the same, and therefore whatever warranties exist today on SDN of the same, it'll be the same. No difference. Not watered down.
Good question.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the top 3. So let's talk about opposition pricing, because we know that's going to happen, don't we? We know that the opposition, the suppliers in particular, are going to come at us with cheaper offers. So what are we going to do about that?
Well, in the group, we don't take the product, but they're going to go to other groups as well with the product. So to me, it's the SmartStrand story. It came out, SmartStrand dominated the market, did everything. GH went Dry Extra, came, where's SmartStrand now?
Okay, so in other words, we've got our story, we're sticking to our story. The Econyl yarn has a point of difference, which we can talk about as a yarn, as long as we get the messaging correct, right? But that's our point of difference, and we're priced at the market, which is pretty competitive. So unless they start to really bleed their margins, they're not going to be able to sustain those prices. So short term, long term.
It might just be that the owner who's participated in this meeting isn't in the store and suddenly there's a GH rep or whoever it may be trying to cut a deal with the salesperson. That might be another way.
When they come in, or say, anytime they're coming in, they have to make an appointment or don't come in.
I think the point there is that, as the member, you own the business, you're able to do what you need to do in your business to make it as profitable as possible. And if you don't have some of those, guidelines in place, then inadvertently, some other person in the business is influencing your profitability, or even worse still, someone from outside your business is influencing your profitability. So
Yeah.
that's the consideration, I think, in what was just spoken about then.
Yeah. And if you think that you're at a point where you're desperate to take a deal for whatever reason, then give one of us a call and we'll give you a little bit of a bit of enthusiasm and momentum and pat on the back and say, stick the course. If you build it, they will come. I don't know.
So number 2 follows on from number 1 beautifully. It says getting high percentage of the network support. So in other words, how do we all stay tight to this strategy? And that's going to have to be a trust issue. And I talk often about you guys being the owners of the brand. You are the shareholders of the business. We don't own any shares. You own them all. You own the brand. It's your business. So you have a responsibility for your own and you have a responsibility for the collective. And this is where you do need to play both. And we think the solution here, the longer term game here, is far more profitable than the $5 or $10 short term option. Okay?
Yep.
We really believe in that. Okay, third point was enough marketing budget to do it justice. Yep, understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are supporting this thing. We've got a big plan in play that's in jeopardy at the moment with our shoot. So we want to advertise this. Remember what we did with the hybrid? We're not talking. We're taking elements of the hybrid launch and thinking how we can actually roll that through over not just the first year, but second year and third year when it builds. So we'll build with you, so you actually see that happen. But we're also working with the board around how we can discount some of this stuff up front and how we can fund it, and we can really get it into your back of houses, some rolls, and once it's there, you're going to sell it. And you get that habit, sales staff getting the habit of selling it. So we're thinking about that as well. So hence the September meeting's really important to come along and to hear further thinking. And there's a lot of happening with the training program as well.
I think the training would increase the confidence, in understanding that, and then not over-promising things that we don't want to go down that path at this point in time. Although it can't happen fast enough for me.
I guess we sort of felt that the most important factor was our carpet court members to commit to Econyl. It's no good if we don't get behind it, so the bottom line is you've got to put your hand up and commit to it. We need to make sure that we decline the alternative supplier offers. So they're going to come knocking on our door with all these other cheaper alternatives. And for us to stick with number one, we've got to make the hard decisions and say no to the offers. And that's pretty much a stated fact. Number three, we also believe that our members need to hold the margin. No point in having something that's exclusive to us, which has been set up to make us some money, and then discount it and give away the advantage that we have with it. So it's being disciplined again, and I think that, in summary, covers the three key points that we identified, and I'll leave the other two alone because we only needed three.
No, that's fine. But, cut the deal, but make the bucks and use the Qantas Frequent Flyer program that's there to support you on that, because no other retailer has that as well. So you don't need to discount. You will not need to discount on this product. Guarantee it.
You've obviously been around the group a while now. Just with the commitment piece, where have you seen that work from this group's perspective been really, really effective? What's been the elements that have made commitment before? Yeah, this commitment we're asking for. What's worked really well from a group perspective, do you think? What have been the elements to the secret sauce?
I think the slides that you presented earlier on today, without question, indicate that our members can see that they're going to make more money out of less products and stick with those core products. And I think that the last 2 years or thereabouts has indicated to pretty much everybody in this room that sticking with core products is going to give us the results that we need. And I think, and we talked about that briefly here around the table, we believe that because of the success of the core range to date has given head office the impetus to get behind Econyl, because without you guys realising that us guys can actually do it, you wouldn't be going down this path. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, success breeds success. It's helpful. It's the virtuous cycle, right?
Correct, Mundo.
It keeps feeding on itself.
Right.
Yep, thanks.
We have three of our factors that are in the way. Our number one is when members don't get behind the program. Of course, it's like everything. If there's a program, we all have to get behind it, and it doesn't work. Number two is there's not enough information for our sales staff, because if they don't know anything about it, they can't pass it on. But it has to be in layman's terms, simple, but get the point across for the questions that the people are going to answer. And number three, then, of course, we'll get out there and sell it all as long as we can get it. Would there be a problem with supply? So they were the three.
We're going to actually take point 3 first, and we're going to show a bit of a visual. And here we go.
Well, the sooner we get into the market, the sooner we're going to start selling. So yeah, exactly. We're going to be sitting on the stock until then. So, yeah, it's got our full focus. Don't worry about that.
See all that? That is Econyl stock. In stock now. That is made stock. I'm telling you now, that is absolute production stock sitting there waiting. Okay, and I can tell you now, since I took that, on my iPhone probably 2 weeks ago, it's probably doubled. We have a stock guarantee in place. We have a contract of supply with these suppliers, and there are penalties if they run out of stock based on the forecast. And remember that I talked about the forecast being at least 40% above where it's been traditionally. So if you go gangbusters and we're 100% up, then eventually we're going to have a stock shortage. Let that be the problem, because you'll be making so much money, it'll be fine, you'll be taking forward orders. We're not going to get there. We're going to monitor the stocks and the orders against the forecast weekly for the first 3, 4, 5 months until we get a really good foundation of actual purchases in place.
Yeah, so 12 weeks stock cover through the first stock build, and then 8 weeks thereafter is what they have to hold by style colour.
Yeah, we've not done this to this level of detail before on any program. Okay.
We're just opposition suppliers. We've just got to stand firm with what we're going to do and all stand together, which is what we've talked about right through. Salesperson training and maybe adding incentives for salespeople to actually sell that range of product if we're going to push it that way, because incentives always helps people get across the line. With the product knowledge and training, it's all part of that whole process that we're going to need to do with them. And then price. So obviously, we've got the right price if we're cheaper than what the equivalent product is going to be. So that should really eliminate the barriers that we've had. But we've sort of gone through everything.
So we've been in this core range journey together for a couple of years now, and we're well and truly down the path. And we're going to, the work that Mark and the finance team have done around building a data warehouse for you to actually be able to peel back and understand what's happening within the business is just extraordinary. And that's what all of that data warehouse and months and months and months of keying and work and building these systems all feed into Power BI and give you great insights. But right now with this program in play, if we fail, our core range program is pretty much, it's on the skids a bit. So, because we'll only ever maximise where we are right now. Because all the thinking for the future that we put into the business is around building it to this point. Obviously, we've got a lot more to share with you, but then to give you a real big kick around this exclusivity piece into the future. Hence why Brett touched on and Alan touched on that the exclusivity is absolutely key for us. So if we win this next part of it's not a battle or a war, because it's not a fight. If we win this next part of our strategy, then further fruits will come. So keep the big prize in mind. We want to build this business. We want to build your businesses so that when it comes time, so you make your money along the way, and when it comes to sell something, that you're selling and maximising the opportunity into retirement. There's 1,200 carpet and flooring stores around Australia. 1,200. It's a huge amount. And some of our suppliers want every single carpet and flooring store to look exactly the same with their products in all 1,200 stores. This is a great opportunity for us, hence the VM principles. We wanted to present the visual merchandise principles back at Cairns. That's what we were working towards. Then we had, this COVID thing has been a real impact on our communication into you guys, and just with everything else that's been going on. So we've got those principles in play. We've funded it. The core range is there. It's really developing. If we can unite around this, and there's several members, we've still got, I think there's 12 members that aren't here from Victoria today. So we've got to go back and catch those guys to make sure that they understand the importance of this strategy and where we're up to with our plan. Okay? So stay united. Chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
So we've spoken about there's the 11 ranges, there's 8 swap outs, and there's 3 new. So a lot of the activity is going to come to you about how do I create the space for those ranges. So the assumption here we have is that all 11 ranges will be presented on your showroom floors. There's a swap out program, and so when the samples start to roll, and I'll talk about that in a second, when the samples start to roll, we're going to be taking off Doncaster, we're going to be taking off Tamarind Park, etc., and we're going to be replacing them. But all of a sudden you're going to have an extra one. You're going to go, what do I do with that? The answer is, what in the non-core is not selling? If you need help with that information, Lynn Power BI, if you can't get access to yourself or your own data system. But we will try and identify for you the ranges that you've got on the floor. So you tell us, I don't think these ones are selling too well. Here's 3 names. Can you tell me what I'm selling or not selling? We'll tell you in the last 12 months. So you make an informed decision that's not going to impact your business. And even if you want to hang on to that swatch book, by all means do it. In the VM principles, stick it out the back. Okay? I hope you can see that everything we're doing, core range focus here, which is really the key, step up for us, and everything else that we do, the marketing we do, the sales training that we do, the VM principles that we do, they're all aligned to the customer journey, which I know we're going to speak more at next time we get together. It's really important for you to understand it's about the customer journey, which will drive revenue and actually make you more money. That's why we're doing it, no other reason.
Yeah, and don't worry about the marketing. So, I back Cara every day of the week. We've got one of the best marketing managers, definitely in flooring, but definitely, in retail. The team, they do a brilliant job. Their focus and the way they drive customers into our network is extraordinary. Last month, we had 295,000 people hit our website, and a large majority of them then go through to select a store. 295,000 people were on our website in 1 month. It's such huge numbers. It's phenomenal. So, it's all the work that the agencies do with Cara and the team to drive that traffic in. So, there's lots of ideas that are running around at the moment. Cara's working hard on the marketing for this. To answer that table over there's concerns around that. We will get it right. I guarantee you we will.
So look, in summary, without any action from you guys, there's no change. We've spoken before about the influencers. You own the business, you're the member, you can influence your staff to do whatever you want them to do or whatever they want to do if you allow them to do that. It's up to you. So the EC and the Tough Muscle ranges will commence the delivery in next month, the samples, the drapes, okay? And we're possibly going to roll them out with reps to help set up. We're trying to align EC and Tough Muscle to do it ideally in the same week. I can't guarantee the rep's going to arrive together, but ideally for you, so there's least disruption, so it can happen in the same week. There will be a product launch event during those state member meetings where we'll share all the information, all the detail, all the marketing, all the messaging, the phrases that we can use, things we probably can't say. And we're going to go live. So we're going to go live. You can start selling the product once it hits your store. Okay, so it's available, all right? But we'll actually go live on the website probably during September, but we'll do an above-the-line campaign launching on the 11th of October. Okay, so slow launch. Once you get the samples, you can start selling. Make hay while the sun shines.